Okay, hey everyone. This is a really late edition of last week's exciting reading adventures. Um, I have not gotten around to doing over the last weekend 'cause I've been so flippin' busy. This is one of these quarter end things or beginning of the quarter end stuff where my job is affected, where I have to do a lot of quarter work for a lot of the studios, and it's coming in like wildfire. And I even gotta go to work tomorrow morning. I gotta get up real early, like 5 o'clock or so, and hightail it down to the office because I'm doing a Warner Brothers project, and it's gotta be get done by 3 o'clock tomorrow. So I thought I was gonna have the night off. I thought I'd be ease ease this out, but no, I gotta pump. I gotta push on the brake, push on the gas, and get this done. This week I'm gonna. This is like a gold key themed week, and it's gonna be it's themed around two horror titles that Gold Key published back in the '60s. These are late '60s book, and I gotta turn the light on again. This light source sucks. I'm doing this at night. Um, Not many titles of Gold Key lasted no more than, I would say, 90 something titles. If it was a Disney related title, horror related title, or Tarzan lasted a while. And you barely reached issue 100. Usually, a lot of Gold Key books were canceled after 10 to 20 issues or so. Um, and But however, the ones that were themed around, centered around uh, horror anthology shows usually lasted, and one such one was Ripley's Believe It or Not, which I believe was a anthology series in the late '50s to early '60s, um, and they were usually like 3 or 4 stories per book, um, and they were covers were rendered by George Wilson. He um, he died back in 1978 at the age of 77. He was a prolific comic book cover artist, illustrator who's also known for his realistic style using oil and acrylics, and he graduated from Richmond and at the Pratt Institute, and he was also a World War II veteran, and he did a lot of covers for Western Publishing, aka Gold Key Comics, and doing cover for a number of the titles, including over 40 issues of Space Family Robinson, aka Lost in Space, and more than 30 issues of Star Trek, and a few covers of the Phantom and Mighty Samson, and he did Tarzan for Dell. It did a lot of the covers for Dell Comics' version of Tarzan, and he did these covers also for Ripley's Believe It or Not. And this issue is they were subtitled True Ghost Stories, and it was but the thing about they never put the credits on their comics. You never know who did what. You have to look through databases and find out who did what on these inside interior issues, and apparently they can't match them to the story, but usually writers Paul S. Newman and Joe Certa and Sam Citron. Well, Paul S. Newman was a writer on all these tales, and Joe Certa and Sam Citron and Luis Dominguez were usually the pencilers, and Sal Trapani kept it glued together with his inking, and Ben Oda was the letterer, and Herb Field was another letterer. So let's see, they're basically ghost stories. I don't know if anyone particularly stood out to me. Oh, they also got a prose story to read in between the first and second stories. They were all like this sampling of Phantom Hands of Vengeance. You basically run the mill ghost stories here. You always got like a couple of in the middle of the book. You got features like well, here was another. There was a TV tie-in they did was Land of the Giants. They did all. I think they did series based on all the Irwin Allen shows. And you can identify planes, animals. You can submit things to like jokes. You can submit jokes to the company, and if they print them, I think you got like a $5 bill. And here was an old pirate's tale. None of these stories really stuck out to me, except for the last one. The last one was based on the cover, the Crimson Skull of Doom, and I thought this was a good one. Fairly decent tale, a skull a crystal skull that's passed down through history and has caused a lot of damage and mayhem through the years and a lot of death along the way, and they always got the backups. The last page of each issue had dinosaur facts, and it was quite the adventure there. I mean, kids would be thrilled. I mean, the thing is that these stories, the stories are sort of written for adults, but it had a lot of kiddie features in there. But I don't think that the kids who got the gist of most of the ghost stories here. So let me see. We got Boris Karloff. Okay, so let me backtrack here. I bought all these at San Diego last year, and the reason why I bought them because Gold Keys is being revived today, and I just received 2 issues of the newly revamped Boris Karloff, and I wanted to do a comparison between the old and the new, and the new one's kind of they're trying to write a story around Boris Karloff rather than him just being the plain old narrator. But Gold Key is run by this guy out in Arizona now. He owns the rights to the company, and he's been self-publishing these books. And he did 2 Boris Karloff Tales of Mystery books. He worked on a 4-issue series with this certain artist, and they did a Kickstarter on it, but I don't think the books ever got published. Something about a ghost dog. And it was a 4-issue series, and I never seen. I go to the website, I visit the website occasionally, and I see still listed as a Kickstarter project. Then there's another one I'm very weary of. It's something to do Sergeant Saturn or something like that. It's a carrot. It's a space romp or so, and I don't know. I have to show the campaign to my editor Sparky, because there's something offsetting about the character to me, because it sort of resembles a character I have came up with, and but I'm looking deeper into it. It's more. There's something going on with its intergalactic adventure or whatever, and mine's sort of based in my project sort of more based into Indian lore and Las Vegas and I got some kind of weird interdimensional reality of Las Vegas. Like there's like a shadow Vegas, I call it. Maybe I could be accused of lifting off of Clive Barker on that one, but anyway, it's no, it's a big wait and see for me. Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery. I had collected three of these books, and let me see if I can get this is the one. Okay, so here this is issue 21 from 1967, late 67. I was in December, and there's a story here. There's some again like the George Wilson painting there, gorgeous. I like this one. I mean, mama, there's an ape sleeping in my bed, and I gotta get through this. No. The first story was Dream Demon. And it's a iffy on who the script is. It could be Gaylord Du Bois. Well, I think he was the most prolific artist at Gold Key, and he wrote everything over there. You name it, Tarzan, he wrote it. Lone Ranger, he wrote. Horror stories, he wrote. Phantom, he wrote. He wrote. He was like the man of versatility over there, and he could adapt to any genre. So maybe he wrote all these things. All the scripts credits are left blank. So I'm gonna assume it's Gaylord Du Bois, and but there's the artists are identified, and Incident at Devil's Demon says this has been penciled by Joe Orlando with a question mark at the end. I like this story. This was a good story about voodoo and witch doctors and such, and a haunting spirit, and the only way that someone can free the spirit is by reciting a spell and come up with your own spirit warrior. I dig tales like this, and see a baboon, a mongoose is facing against a spirit thing, and I can dig that. Let me see the ghostly images. No known credits here. Another prose story, Death Haunts the Opera. That was interesting to read. Here we go, the art gallery, and a couple jokes here. The Scavengers. Any credits here? Oh, I don't see it. This is a very poor database I'm looking at. This was pretty cool. This guy was building ghost ships. He's a ghost building ghost ships to stop these looters or pirates, modern day. Pirates to stop stealing from his ship, and he summons ghost demons and stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool. The Screaming Skull, it's sort of the story that I left off with in the Ripley's Beaver, believe it or not. They reuse a lot of plots. Look, this was cool. Without the typeset on there. Let me see if I got better luck with issue 24, and another gorgeous George Winston cover. The Demon Masks. There's one thing. The one thing I got to point out to the reader. Well, 'cause this was reminding me of when Don Glut was talking to me about him writing like a massive inventory of stories in case the eventuality that he passes on that magazine, the creeps and not the creeps, Shutter and vampirist Carmilla can carry on without him for a few years. Um, but I'll come to that. There's another prose story. Um, there's an ad for Cheerios. Oh, yes, here we go. This is the one. The Guardian. Yeah, inventory stories. You see, you can write as many stories, and just get lost to where they're gonna, where these stories are going to wind up eventually. And this one, even though it says Boris Karloff Tales of Mystery in the Guardians, Boris here sprouts off about the Twilight Zone. So this was a story that should have been appeared in the Twilight Zone comic book that Gold Key also published, but they did a little switcheroo on you. And this was a good story. This could have easily fit in the pantheon of the Twilight Zone series. It's about a guy who was trying to interview this scientist, and he can't find this certain scientist, but he walks across Skid Row or something, and he spots the scientist, but he's acting like a derelict. So he's not sure if it is really the scientist, but he follows the scientist into a flop house, and he runs into another guy who's also a famous scientist and such, and he goes to his editor and says, something's up here. Why are these scientists living on Skid Row and instead of they're giving their lectures and stuff like that? And as soon as he comes across a whole entire room with these guys, and sure enough, it's all part of an alien invasion. These aliens luring these great scientists into this flop house and taking over their minds and everything. This was a damn good one. So kudos whoever wrote this one. Geez, the Guardian. Okay, who? Any credit? But pencils are by Bill Molno and Sam Tripney. I dug that. Okay. Okay. Last one, number 25. This is a outstanding George Wilson painting. Really like that one. Where we go? The Thing Called Ilona. No, can't find. There's always gotta be Gaylord Du Bois. There's no other guy who can churn these out. Yeah, there's no record of any who wrote these stories, but except the artists, what else do I got here? Behemoth, who? This guy. The artwork is credited to Art Saaf, Saaf. Okay. Do I remember that one? Did I finish reading this issue? I don't know. The Metamorphs. Mike Roy. Credit to Mark Roy. And this was kind of hokey. Not all the stories work well. This is a guy who he's assistant to this one scientist, and he discovers this scientist is, what do you call that? Island of Dr. Moreau, Island of Dr. Moreau, I think, type of thing. And Death is the Hunter. Oh, this was a werewolf tale. Okay, that was, as far as werewolf tales go, it was adequate. And there you have it. Here, this was interesting. Look at it. The Beatles' Yellow Submarine. Pop out art decorations for $1. I wonder if my buddy Bill Morrison has this. Bill Morrison used to work on Simpsons comics. I was when he used to live in Santa Monica. I used to run into him, and because their Bongo Comics office was around the corner from where I lived, or I was looking for work at Lionsgate, and I ended up working at Universal Music on the block instead. And I run into him walking up and down the street. So this the future. This I have one more week of old books I've gotten from I've bought from dealers and shows and certain and just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in with this box I found of unread books I filled up for $65 or something. Over this place called Spiro Heroes in Chatsworth. Nice store. They have a whole entire back room just filled with nothing but boxes and boxes of junk comic books. Now you can fill your entire box for $65, and hey, look, I get Fantastic Four, Ultimate Fantastic Four here. I found this X-Men paperback there, and a couple of things I could use for the next few weeks. So I found an Avengers book that I read the other night, and I found a bunch of West Coast Avengers, and there's a bunch of Captain Americas here from various runs. I could do a week on, but not long. I mean, this is kind of slim pickings in here. I don't know if this is gonna work out. I might have to put the series on hiatus for a while. A bunch of Excaliburs. I don't know if you want to hear about Excalibur. Mage could be interesting. I could do a Mage week, I guess. Damned. I thought I had I have Brubaker, but I thought I had a bunch of criminal issues in here. Criminal is on his way to debuting as a series on Amazon soon, and I'm hoping I had some to share. But anyway, let's see what happens. Tune in next week for I wasn't quite done with the Avengers yet, so all right, I got stuff to do. Bye.